Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Oh, we're just... Intro. Go. Come on. Can we just... I've done, like... Link to the original video, top of the description, Discord below that. Love to have you. My name's Connor. Let's watch Dave Allen stand up.
Well,
Hi, guys. Sorry. Was that rude? I'm sorry.
The Irish come across here. Well, a lot of people think that the Irish come across here because of work, economics, or even religious persecution. It's got nothing to do with that. The reason we come to your country is because over here, you're a permissive society. In Ireland, we're not. Here, you have sex before marriage. In Ireland, we do not. We come to get our share.
It took me so long to get that joke. Jesus.
The Irish are very good at populating other countries.
You looking at me?
In more ways than one. So for all you know, you might be laughing at your brother. The two Irish fellows talking about sex before marriage, and one tells the other, he said, what do you think about sex before marriage? He said, I don't think about it. He said, well, I know I never had sex with my wife before we were married. Did you? He said, I've no idea. What's her name? I am what you might call a practicing atheist. I'm quite happy to be an atheist because I think actually God likes atheists better. We never ask him for anything. We're not bothering him all the time saying, oh, God, please help me, I'm with this thing. And as a practicing atheist, there's certain things that I travel around the world, and no matter where I go, somebody called Gideon leaves me this book to read.
Guys, come on. What? I didn't get it. Gideon?
It's an Irish book because it says it all began at the beginning.
Is it religious? I'm not a religious person. I've never have been. Is that a religious joke? I feel so left out when everyone laughs.
Irish book because it says it all began at the beginning. There are certain things that, when I read the Bible, and I do read the Bible, that I find difficult to understand. I mean, if God has been there forever, what was he doing before he got to us? I mean, what was he out there doing? Was he sitting there going, today, what'll I do? I mean, suddenly from nowhere, he suddenly decided to create a world. I'll make a world, that's what. Make a world, yes, that's what I'll do. Rivers, seas, boom, mountains. Boom, everything's there. I want a garden. I'd like a nice garden. Whack! Garden bee.
I need something to look at.
Hate gardening. Need a garden. Ah, gardener, spit and dust. Adam. Hey! And he, Adam, never once says, where in the name of God did I come from?
A rib.
I mean, he's 40 years...
Oh, no. Guys, I don't know Bible stuff.
Where in the name of God did I come from? I mean, he's 40 years of age. He has no child, he has no recall. He doesn't say, how did I get here? But he's quite happy. He just kind of trundles around the garden, working away. And God is looking at him. And he sees that Adam is happy.
Eve?
I didn't put him there to be happy. I'll put a stop to that. And God, during the night, sneaks down like a thief and steals, doesn't ask, doesn't request, steals it. His rib. And from his rib, he makes woman. And Adam wakes up in the morning, he's a real thickie. He's lying there, he's saying, and there's somebody else, he doesn't say, where did you come from? How the hell did you get here? Where did you get those lumps?
I like those. Where's your wiener?
Just goes out and goes gardening. And God comes down and has a conversation with Eve and tells her that she can eat of any fruit in the tree in the whole garden with the exception of one fruit tree. He's talking to a woman. He actually tells her not to eat of the fruit. And then when she said, which tree can't I eat? He said, that one over there. He points it out to her. And when he goes and hides, and she sneaks up to the tree, and a snake comes down and has a conversation.
Devil.
A snake. Now, if I see a snake, I'll back off. One starts talking, I'll crap myself. And a snake.
This sounds exactly like a story that some people just like came up with and were like, hey, I know it's great. I'm not a religious person, but I don't mind, believe what we want to believe. It doesn't hurt anyone. But why is it that every time I learn about the Bible, it sounds exactly like something that I would write or that just make up, not that someone would just make up? It's like, why doesn't he question that there's a woman there? Well, it's just a character in the story.
Actually convinces her.
I don't understand. But,
And the snake actually convinces her to eat the apple. And she eats the apple. And when she eats the apple, she learns shame. That's what happens when you eat apples. Now, she's not ashamed that she's disobeyed God or that she's eaten the apple. She's ashamed of one part of her body. That's all. She becomes ashamed of that area of the body. Now, why that area? Why not her elbow? Her nose. Do you actually realize that if Eve had been ashamed of her nose, every woman in the world now would be ashamed of your noses? You'd all be sitting here tonight with little nose knickers on. Men would be in nightclubs watching totally naked ladies with G-strings on their nose. Take them off. Oh, I saw a nose. This is the book that you'll go into court and place your hand upon. And swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
it really is like humanity. It's like the Western Christian world's favorite book. And everyone loves it so much that I kind of want to read the Bible just like as I would any other book, just because it's so important to like Western civilization. But it is kind of funny when he puts it that way. Just like everyone plays.
A very important part of the Irish way of life is death. See, if anybody else, anywhere else in the world dies, that's the end of it, they're dead. But in Ireland, when somebody dies, we lay them out and watch them for a couple of days. Called a wake. And it's a party, it's a send-off. And the fellow's laid out on the table. And there's drinking and dancing and all the food you can eat. And all your friends come from all over the place. And they all stand around the wake table looking at you with a glass in their hands and they say, here's to your health. And the terrible thing about dying over there is that you miss your own wake. It's the best day of your life. You've paid for everything and you can't join in.
You're the decoration.
Mind you, if you did, you'd be drinking on your own.
I gotta shut up.
Everything and you can't join in. Mind you, if you did, you'd be drinking on your own. We have
What didn't I understand?
We have a custom. We have a custom that the dying man is allowed one question before he dies, which must be answered completely truthfully. Otherwise, the soul is damned. And you get a little fella dying. And he's got 4 sons. 3 of the biggest fellows you've ever seen in your life. And 1 skinny little puny nothing. And he's lying there and he's going, Mary, Mary, are you there, darling? Are you there? She goes, I'm here, love. And I'm here beside you. I'm going. I'm going. She says, I know. Don't hang about now.
I'm going to ask you the question. Tell me now. Tell me, is that skinny little runt standing at the end of the bed, is he really my son? She says, he is. Honest to God, he is your son. And he goes, and she goes, thank God he didn't ask about the other three.
That is so freaking morbid. Jesus Christ. I feel like from that joke, maybe you can tell Irish humor more than from any other joke. An infidelity joke, you raised the children, and the one you hated, you liked, and you died. Yes!
There's no doubt that some men are born with a power to control, or a power to lead, or a power to sway other men. And no man more so than the man who has the power of hypnosis. The hypnotist can not only sway one mind, but many minds, thousands of minds. And there's a story told of a hypnotist who appeared at the Albert Hall. The place was packed, thousands of people. And he walked upon the stage, and all the lights went down, and he stood in the one spotlight, and he began to talk. And his voice was soft and gentle, persuasive. And as he talked, the people listened. And as they listened, they became immersed in the sound of his voice.
Am I being hypnotized?
And he said to them, you will listen to my voice. You will listen, and as you hear my voice, your eyes will become drowsy. Your limbs will become heavy. Your eyelids will become sand-like. You wish to close. You wish to sleep. And as you sleep, you shall listen to my voice. And they're all there. Listen to my voice. And they're all there. You will obey my every command. What? The whole place is still. He said, I will leave the stage now for a few moments, but I want you to remember that you are under my control. And as he leaves the stage, he trips over a microphone wire and says a word which I am not allowed to say on television. I only know that it took 5 weeks to clean the Albert Hall out.
He pooped. I'm impervious, I think, to, like, I would be the worst person to demonstrate hypnosis on. Not because I'm, like, impervious and I'm like, oh, I'm above that. I just have ADHD and horrible attention span. And so I'm going to be like, what? Huh? Okay. What are you doing now? Like, by default, I guess I just don't have the attention span to be hypnotized. Superpower.
I was talking to a man the other day who was leaving, decided to immigrate, decided to leave this country.
U.S.?
And I said, why are you leaving? He said, it's homosexuality. I said, what are you talking about? He said, 300 years ago, if you were homosexual, you were hanged, drawn, and quartered. 100 years ago, if you were homosexual, you were hanged. 50 years ago, if you were homosexual, you were flogged and given 20 years in prison. 20 years ago, if you were homosexual, you were fined £200 and sent to prison for 2 years.
It's getting better.
5 years ago, if you were homosexual, you had a small fine and you were pardoned. Got off with a warning. I said, well, what are you leaving for? He said, I'm going before they make it compulsory. The Pope, discussing the existence of God with an out-and-out atheist, starts off very correctly discussion And as the hours go by, it gets more and more heated, and eventually the Pope turns to the man and he said, "The mom! Get the mom! And you, come here. You.
What does that mean?
You are like a man who is totally blindfolded in a dark room looking for a black cat that is not there." The fellow said, "With all respect, Your Holiness, I think there's great similarity between us both." He said, "What do you mean, similarity?" He said, "Well, as far as I'm concerned, you are like a man who is blindfolded in a totally dark room looking for a black cat that isn't there. The only difference is that you found it." Get it done. Gets up in the morning and leaves and walks down the corridor. And another nun looks at her and says, it's a difficult thing to say, another nun.
Another nun?
And says, "You got out of the wrong side of the bed this morning." And she goes on down, and another nun says, "You got out of the wrong side of the bed this morning." And this happens 15 times, and by then she's livid. And she meets the Mother Superior. And the Mother Superior is just about to open her mouth, and the sister says, "Don't tell me that I got out of the wrong side of the bed this morning!" And the Mother Superior said, "I wasn't going to say that. I was just going to say, what are you doing with the bishop's shoes on?" Final custom that we have in Ireland regarding death and a funeral is that only one person who is buried in a graveyard can go to heaven. Which basically means if two people are buried in the same graveyard on the same day, the last one in has got to wait till tomorrow. So can you imagine what would happen if one funeral met another funeral going to the same graveyard?
Is this a Monty Python sketch? Race. Fast in the music. It would be really morbid if someone picked up the baby and then they started running to the graveyard because they just killed. It's not my fault. I thought that. It's theirs. Forget it. Like if you had the mother run behind with the, like she wants her baby. Too far? I'm not a psycho, all right? I love how they compensated back in the day with with no audio with enhanced physical gestures. I'm ruining the joke. I'm sorry. Take it out. Still got to fight for second place. That was great. Was that a Dave Allen? Like, was that a skit right there made for Dave Allen's joke right there? Or was that a Monty Python skit? It was great. Either way. Love you all. Hope you all doing well. If you lasted this long, appreciate it. I would appreciate any comments, and I'll see you next video. All right. Bye, guys.